ese hombre holding up the bottle. Look a little closer, cigar and Moscato. An actor in improv coming from Chicago. Outdoors, wave upon
Folks, welcome. All right, how's my background? Your background looks great, man. I'm still working on mine. I'm trying to figure out how to have a good background.
No,
If it's too distracting, let me know. But,
no, you're good, man.
good to see you, my friend.
Likewise, bro. How you been?
I've been well, living the life in Vegas. It's finally starting to warm up a little bit. I'm sure, just like in Cali.
Yeah,
so,
man. Feels like summertime already.
Exactly. Have you been on vacation anywhere, or do you go anywhere?
You know what, man? My vacation is like just like I really don't take vacations, man. Like all of a sudden I just like, man, you know what? I need a couple of days off or whatever, and we just take off to somewhere in Mexico or anywhere we can, man.
You ever go where like Tijuana or like somewhere like Mexico?
We go like deep down, like to Jalisco, like Puerto Vallarta or Acapulco. I got a lot of family out that way, so we go out there, we visit, and we relax at the same time.
That's wonderful, wonderful. Well, hey, man, I really appreciate you coming and doing the show. If you want to see the camera bigger, you can just click on the picture and it'll expand it.
Right.
And so this is Fireside, man. You might consider joining us here if you ever, if you want to bring your podcast over here, if you want to do, especially if you want to do video. You'll see it's saved. You can play it back. So even if there's a lot of people in the audience, it's saved on the platform, and then you can always, you can also download it, edit it, and put it back up like wherever you host your website.
And then you could always just share the link,
or you can just share the link, and people can come here. And the nice thing is, it's somewhat curated, so they don't let anyone on the platform. And if somebody gets through and they're a troll, they're not going to be around for long. They start trolling, they get kicked off, and then once you get kicked off a couple times, they don't let you back on.
Oh, okay.
And for creators, they you just have to apply. Of course, you could just submit your application, and they probably go like, "Oh yeah, we want them on the platform." It's a great platform. Yeah, it's owned by Mark Cuban and Fallon Fatemi. She's the founder, and then Mark Cuban is one of the investors. So I think it's going places. It's going to do pretty well.
Oh, okay, yeah, man. Fuck, dude. Look, I mean, I was checking it out. It looks pretty nice, man.
Yeah. I like it. Well, you ready to get started? I mean, it's been recorded the whole time, so we can always use anything. And then if people show up, you might hear applause or laughs or things like that. And if they bother you, just tell me, and I'll turn them off. But it's kind of fun. That's what I like about this is that it gives you a little bit of feedback, especially in front of people, and they keep great analytics. So, and I think even if you want to react to something, if you hit the react button here, let me see.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see it right there.
Yeah. Okay. I send us applause, so you can do it yourself. You can can hit the laugh button, whatever, But or we just treat it like a regular podcast, man.
Yeah, no, it looks interesting, man. I think I might check it out, man.
If anything, Bob Saget was on here before he passed, and Jay Leto's done his shows here, and the new show that's kind of being worked on is the creator of Entourage. He and Kevin Conley, is that his name? I think Kevin Conley and Charlie Sheen. They're doing this new show, and they're going to do a lot of behind the scenes stuff here. So there's some exciting. So, all right. Well, folks, welcome to Paul Vato Presents. Today, my guest is Anthony Big CiTRic Campos. We're going to delve a little bit into his life growing up in East LA and taking that long journey to Hollywood, which I kind of laugh, but it's not something to laugh about because Hollywood is so close, or I should say East LA is so close to Hollywood and vice versa.
Exactly.
But yet you don't see Latinos on TV representing. So, man, we're all very proud of you. And, and so thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing some of your story, because maybe it'll inspire some young kid that's out there who doesn't see us on TV and then goes, wow, I want to be like that guy. So thank you, Anthony, for being here.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me, man. You already know, bro. Anytime.
You got it, my friend. You got it. And I was trying to figure out how we actually met, but I guess we'll get into that. And I'm sorry, I just feel like you've been in my life a long time, but I know it's only been, I don't know, the past 10 years since I've been in Vegas. So I probably shouldn't bring that up without remembering, because who knows, we might end up with a crazy story.
Well, yeah, I mean, we ended up over there in Vegas. We went to your cigar shop, man. We went to go pay you a visit, man. And I remember, I remember the crazy part is that we took a Greyhound out there.
Yes.
Yeah, like I had never driven on a Greyhound towards Vegas, and I said, you know what, that might be a fun experience. And one of my homies are like, don't do it, you're gonna regret it. When we got there, we're like, man, we should have just took a flight.
Yeah, and you know what? That's what I used to do. I used to take the Virgin America flight. I used to love it. Now it's Alaska Airlines, and it was. I had the jingle memorized, because Virgin did this whole little jingle, and it was exciting. And I had people would look at me like I'm an idiot, but I'm an actor. I pick things up, and I would be sitting there singing the jingle, and it was great. You'd take off. You'd get offered drinks. You'd barely have your drink. They're like, all right, we're cleaning up. A 45-minute flight. But I also have a bus story. When I caught one of my employees, he was stealing, and I was at my place in LA with my ex-wife, and I was like, I go, I've had it. I got to get there. And flights were going to be like $500, and there was a Greyhound bus for like $30 or $40, whatever it was. And I'm like, I'm going to go. She goes, are you sure? She goes, just wait till tomorrow. I'm like, no. I called security. I'm like, hey, I'm going to fire an employee. I'm going to be there in about 5-6 hours. They're like, yeah, okay, whatever you need. And I took a Greyhound bus, and it is the story of a lifetime, man. I mean,
yeah, man, it's wild, man. Like, you ever see that movie Soul Plane?
Yes.
It was like that, but on a bus, huh?
Exactly. Oh, exactly.
It was just
I didn't see like
crazy stories on there, man. Just crazy, wild stuff going on there, man.
And this is once that you took it. It's once for me, and I have an insane story.
That was the last time I was on a Greyhound. That was that time we went to go visit you over there to Vegas. I don't know what just shot in my mind. Like, hey, just you guys should do an adventure, go on a Greyhound, see what it is. See what it's because I've been on Greyhounds, but way back in the days. But man, it was nothing like back in the days, bro.
Hell no!
It was chaos.
You see how it is to fly on like Southwest or these cheaper airlines. And if people don't respect that, do you think they're going to respect a fucking Greyhound?
Yeah.
Come on. You know what, CiTRic? You and I should do an adventure, maybe go across the country. Because I'll tell you my story, when we get to it, because I want to hear what happened to you. But mine involves seeing a guy with a swastika being super nice to like this clerk at the Greyhound. He was the nicest guy. I'm like, I hope he's an actor, and but you would think that you cover it up or go like, oh, I'm an actor. No, he had a swastika, and he could have been nicer. I stayed away from him, and sleeping on my shoulder. This little Honduran thought I was like his brother, and I attract all these people. So can you imagine if you and I you would probably get recognized. I mean, I think this could be a travel show.
Yeah, no, that would be comedy, man.
Oh my God!
It's brutal, man. Because on the story, what happened to me, there was some dude was smoking weed on the bus. The bus driver, she was hella cool. She was this cool black lady, man. But if you got her pissed off, she went off on this dude for smoking. She let them there. She goes, you know what? If you don't put that shit out, man, I'm gonna leave you. That dude didn't believe he was already smoking it. She left them there, dog. We took off and she left them there.
So the Greyhound bus station. That's right. You took it because it literally left you 50 yards from my cigar shop from Binny's.
Yeah, we're literally right there down the street. Yeah,
it was right there because it was at the plaza. So the stories I've heard have been insane. We had one of our pit bosses who hated to fly, so he actually took a Greyhound from here to Texas or somewhere, and they left him on accident. And then all his bags got stolen.
Dude.
He just, and I don't trust anyone. I keep my valuables on me.
Yeah, exactly.
a guy leave his, his bag was underneath and they stopped in like Barstow or somewhere. By the time we got to LA, no, by the time we got to Vegas, his shit was gone. So obviously somebody got off the bus and took it. And I was like, oh, brother, I wish I could help you, man. Like, I mean, what? And then I'm thinking, like, maybe he's a scammer. I don't know,
Yeah, it's hard to tell these days, man. It's hard to tell, man. It's just crazy. Yeah, and that incident I was talking about happened right there too in Barstow at the Barstow station.
She left him in Barstow.
She left him in Barstow. He had to get the next bus.
Well, it is insane. I was dating this girl who, not to brag, she it's the only Playboy model I've ever dated, but obviously she was a Playboy model, 10, 12 years ago. Just like when we used to go to that strip joint here in Vegas, where not us, me, not us. When I and my friends used to go,
I remember. I would remember.
Rudy Nino was like, "Oh yeah, we have a Playboy model here," And then when I see her, I'm like, Miss 1968." Like Jesus, she was like.
Yeah, at least you can say you dated a Playboy model.
yeah. She'd been in Playboy, but man, she was a head case. This was like it was right after my divorce, like a couple years ago. Yeah. I'll tell you that story too, man. She was woo.
Man. She was wild.
Crazy. And you know what? Maybe I'm the crazy one. I shouldn't put it all on her. But yeah. But it is so great to reconnect. So that's right. So you came out to Vegas. You took because I remember that you were going to fly out, then you were going to drive, and then it didn't happen. And then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, we're just taking the bus. I'm like, what? And I instantly think like, what a great adventure, because I'm also a big like romantic in that I think like travel by train is amazing. Yeah. I want to go to Europe and take I want to do the Orient Express. I want to do the one that goes through through Russia. I want to do all that. I find there's such romance in it, but it's not like old time bus travel. It's the dregs of society. No offense if you're great. Oh, I tried taking it a second time. I bought a ticket because somebody wanted me to be in their project in LA, and so I was like, oh, it's so last minute, and there wasn't a lot of pay, so I'm like, you know what, screw it, I'll just take the bus. So I think they still owe me a refund. I already gave away the story, but then I get there and it's delayed by 10 hours. I just tell them, I'm like, by the time I get there, it's, the shoot's over. Like, what are you guys, what are you talking about? Why my Uber driver driving? So I wasted like $40 in Uber, another $50 for the bus ticket. And so I still got to get that refund. Thanks for reminding me.
Hey, bro, I remember our bus trip when we went on Greyhound was supposed to be, I think it was like 5 hours, turned into like 8 hours or something. They stretched the game, man, because they're stopping on every ranch, pretty much, picking up chickens.
5 hours. That'd be great because, I mean, if you take a flight, maybe it's 4.5. If you drive, it's 4.5. It's always like around 5 hours. But now when you start adding like that, for even if, there's been flights that have been delayed, I'm like, I could have driven here quicker. But if it's under 5, that's great because everyone says like, oh, I can be in Vegas in 3.5 hours. I don't think that's true because you're going to
I don't think so
either. Bakersfield, you're going to make all the stops. So it's not as quick as people say.
You can probably make it in 3.5, but you'll probably end up with a ticket.
Exactly. And they're not going to make it quick, so there's another hour. But if you don't get caught, sure, you're one of your.
You could probably make it in 3.5, but for sure you're doing at least 4, man. And that's how we thought about it too, because I really don't like to drive a lot. You know what I'm saying? And at that time I was with my ex-girl, so it's like, and she goes, well, I could drive, but I go, nah, but then we're gonna deal with the traffic on the way back, and that's where it always gets like it. Like I always think about on the way back, that big old long line there, the traffic sometimes, man, because especially depending if you come back coming back on a Sunday, everybody's coming back home on a Sunday.
Everybody.
So you're gonna catch mad traffic. So we thought about that, and then we just said, no, you know what? Fuck it, man. We'll just, like the commercial says, leave the driving to us. So we jumped on the Greyhound.
Yeah,
but I'd rather take a Spirit airline than the Greyhound, man. I'll tell you that.
And that, my friend, says a lot. If you're willing to, oh my, I'd rather pay for Spirit than a free Greyhound ticket.
Yeah, I'd rather pay for the extra, to take the bags on a Spirit, because Spirit Airlines charge, they don't charge you much, but where they get you is when they start charging you for all the baggage you take.
Exactly, it's the nickel and diming that's ridiculous, and it's like or your bag's 5 pounds overweight or whatever, or what? You should have bought it online, because here at the counter it costs $30 to just to enter it.
Yeah, they want to tax you for everything, man.
Yeah, exactly. Well, folks, thank you guys so much for joining us. Please give Anthony, or if you're here, please give him a round of applause. And thank you guys so much for joining us today on Paul Vato Presents. If you just joined us, my guest is Anthony Big CiTRic Campos, an actor, musician from Hollywood, and maybe a stand-up comedian, because I've seen some of you. I've seen a little bit of your work, Anthony.
Yeah, just in the last couple of years, I got into doing stand-up because of my boy Phil Medina, which is also a comic, and he's been doing it for like maybe, I think, 14 years, and he produces shows all over the place too. And he just we met, through my boy Monsky. They were doing a podcast together, and then they were producing comedy shows at the Levity Live in Oxnard, and they would invite me down to the shows. Hey, come through. So I started going down and hanging out. That's how I met Phil. And then one day they hit the road. Monsky would host the shows, and then Phil was the headliner, and he goes, "Hey man, we're going on the road, man. We're gonna do like Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas, and then turn around back and come back and hit a couple other spots. You down the road with us?" And I'm like, "Yeah, fuck it, let's go, man." It was like, I think we were gone for a few, it was a few days, like a week almost, but I was like, man, I ain't got nothing to do this week, so let's do it, man. So I went out on the road with these guys, just to hang out and show support, and just to see what, because I've been on the road before when I started doing music back in the days. So I would be on tour and stuff like that, so I've lived that road life, and it's always been fun. I mean, it gets to a point where, it can get like a little overwhelming, you know what I'm saying? You get tired of the traveling after a while, and you got to take a little break. So, but I hadn't been out on the road like that in a minute, so I told him, let's go. So I went, and these guys, they were doing shows, like venues all across down, down all the way down to Texas, from Arizona all the way down. And Phil just started throwing me on there, man, like a couple of minutes, like bringing me up on stage with him, or right before he closes the show. And then I'm like, well, what do I tell him? He goes, dude, just talk to them, man. Just talk to the people, man. Tell them a story, man, whatever, man. And he goes, you're funny, man. You're going to make them laugh. And and I would go out there and say a couple of little things here and there and just talk some shit, and people would be, cracking up. So that went on, and then right before the pandemic hit, I did a show, my official show, that was like, okay, I could say, okay, I did an official set, even though I was like all over the place, but I did it. It was at the I think it was the Ventura Harbor Comedy Club out there in the city of Ventura in 805. And it was a not your average comedy show produced by Phil and Monsky. And so they threw me on there, man. And I did like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, something like close to 10 minutes. Yeah. But I was like all over the place, but I was getting a lot of good laughs, and it was cool. And then Phil goes, bro, you got it, man. You got what it takes, dude. You just got to fucking just start piecing shit up, man. And I was like, nah, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Because it's not, man, it seems easy, but it's not, bro. I get super nervous every time I go on. And he goes, dude, that's natural. That's normal. We all get nervous. Come on, man. He goes, you got it. So he kept pushing me in that. And I said, all right. So I started like piecing up some stuff together. And then boom, man, the pandemic hit. So I was, so I was like, fuck. Just when I was getting ready to like, okay, fuck it, I'm going to do this, man. I can do this. And then boom, that hit. So during the pandemic, like I started like just working on stuff with Phil and going over stuff. And he started helping me like just to like tag stuff and, and I would give him ideas. What do you think? Should I try like this? And he would tell me, try like this, maybe reword it at this end, stuff like that. So throughout the last couple of years, that's all, I would just do that from time to time, just when I would have some free time too, and just try to work on shit, see what. Just I have like a big old list of just concept jokes, and I promised myself after the pandemic, I go, once we get out of this, man, I go, everything all good and everything starts opening up again. I'm just gonna go harder with it, man, and I'm just gonna go all out. Every chance I get a chance to jump on the stage, I'm gonna do it, and that's what happened, man. Once everything started opening up again, and everything was all good, and then Phil started producing shows again. And he just hit me up, you ready? And I go, well, not really, but, fuck it, let's give it a shot, man. You know what I'm saying? It's now or never, bro. I go, because that's one thing I learned about doing stand-up is, like, you could write shit down, but you don't know if it's going to really work. It could be funny to you at that moment, so you don't know if it's going to really work. So you got to constantly get on the mic with, even if it's 10 people, 5 people, whatever, just kind of, like, practice your material. That's the only way. So we started doing a lot of shows like that, a lot of bar shows, where there was like 20 people, somewhere 100 people, but I was trying different shit. And then I started to see, because Phil would tell me, like, dude, you're going to figure it out, bro. Because you're going to find your style, you're going to find your rhythm, but you got to keep trying and trying, and you're going to figure it out, your rhythm and your flow and all that shit. And then just shit will start coming to you when you're up there, man. And that's exactly what happened, man. Just by being up there, one little joke, I started turning into other shit, trying different shit while I was up there, and I saw that it worked. Then I would try it on a different show, and then it would work even more because I would change it up a certain way. So then I started saying, okay, I see where you're going with, like where, like what Phil was telling me. I understood it because at first I was like really confused, but then it started making sense. It's like the more I tried it, the more I went up on stage, and just got in front of the crowd, and it doesn't matter if it's like 10 people or 1,000 people, like I get nervous no matter what, But Phil kept telling me, he goes, bro, that's natural. He goes, the day you stop getting nervous is the day you're gonna fuck up.
Sure.
He goes, it's good to be nervous, you know what I'm saying? Because that means you really care about what you're doing,
I would imagine it's because when you're not nervous, then you're just gonna phone it in, like, oh, I got this. But then you're not, you're paying attention to the audience. You're not paying attention to the people. And what I love what you said is that it doesn't matter if it's 10 or 10,000, you're still nervous. But I think in the long run, that is such a great place to be, because even if you're nervous with 10 and it sounds like you're just as nervous with 10,000, that's great, because 10,000 is a lot of people. I mean, it could be a stadium like Fluffy just did today. And so what? You're still nervous, but you're not 10,000 times more nervous. You're just as nervous. So that makes sense. I would love to meet Phil. Maybe I'll have him on, because I'm also,
that would be dope, man.
Yeah, because I would love to work with you guys, and I'm not trying to get myself on the bill there, because I'm where you're at in that I've not really done stand-up. My background was improv comedy and sketch, so it's always me and an ensemble, which is its own art form. But I respect and I love stand-up. I just had a gentleman, Butch Bradley, who's a headliner here in Las Vegas. So maybe if you guys want to do something out here, we could have you guys come out, because I know Noel G also wants to do something, and I've been wanting to do something with him, and it's been my fault. I've dropped the ball. I haven't really set anything up yet, but I know he's got a little crew as well, the Fast and the Funny, or I think that's what they're called, or the Funny and
that was part of Phil Medina too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Phil Medina was producing those events, but they stopped for a while because Noel G also got like busy with filming other projects. He leaves a lot out of town, so it was kind of hard to like keep doing that tour. But Phil was talking about like they want to bring that tour back, at least for a couple more dates, And a few months ago, me and Noel did a show too. He was actually hosting it, and I was like one of the openers, and it was for like a recovery thing, like recovering addicts, and so the guy Charles Sanchez, the guy that was producing it, he's a comic as well, and he was telling me that the last minute when we were getting ready to go out there, we did a little prayer, all the comics,
sure,
and right before we went out, and then he goes, he tells me, hey bro, just if you're gonna, these people are all recovering addicts. He goes, if you got any jokes about like drugs, and all, try to keep it light to none if possible. And I was like, oh yeah, not a problem, So he goes, I'll tell you one thing. He goes, if you can make these motherfuckers laugh, he goes, you're funny, bro. Yeah, and so so that made me even more nervous. Like no pressure, I'm like, damn, dog. So everybody was sober in there, but I went out there. It was a packed crowd. It was like 600 people. It was in an auditorium where it was like people were standing. It was sitting everywhere, and then people that didn't have no seats, they were just standing like around the thing. So when I went out there, I was like, oh shit, So I was like, man, now it's really on, So, but I went out there and I remember that, I just kind of broke the ice. I was like nervous, as fuck, and then I broke the ice by just saying, I was told not to talk about drugs, but now I gotta change my whole set around. I was out here gonna talk about hookers and cocaine and shit, And then one guy in the front row was, hey, fuck you, talk about it. And he's all pumped up. I was like, but yeah, that kind of broke the ice. And then, I went into my set, and I gotta say that show was the first show that I did like a full blown set. Like I had a set down already, like because I had already did all these little bar shows, and I was able to piece up like a 5-minute, 10-minute set, So when I got there, I was nervous, but it wasn't one of those like crazy nervous like other times where I'm like, damn, what am I gonna say? What am I gonna do? I know what I want to talk about, but I really don't have a set put together, So I just gotta wing shit and see what works, But those are like those smaller shows. But this one, by the time I did this show, I had a nice little set piece together, like 5-10 minutes. And I went up there, and to my surprise, it went good, man. Like people were rolling and got a good response, So the promoter was happy, and it was overall it was good, man. It was dope, man. So like I said, I get super nervous, but I look forward to getting on stage every time. And I respect, like you said, the craft. I respect it to the fullest, like 100%, 200%,
That's amazing. Well, it sounds like you're finding, you're finding your rhythm. You're finding all that because it's so important. But I think again, what you've said, you know what, you've got it all right, because what you said was amazing. That you respect that audience, and that's what we learn in improv. Also, you play to the height of your intelligence, and you don't think that the audience is dumb or you blame the audience for anything. You just do the best that you can and play smart. And give them a great show. Ultimately, it's about making them laugh. So
yes.
It sounds like you're on the right path, and I would love to join you on that. So if you're in Vegas, let me know. I'll come and support. Or if you guys are performing next time in LA, I'll come out and I'll support. There's also this guy, Butch Bradley, who's a headliner here at the LA Comedy Club. It's at the Stratosphere. It's in Vegas, but it's called the LA Comedy Club. And my friend Joaquin,
I heard of it,
the owner. And I'm going to run it by him because my friend Joe Stapleton, who's also been on this show, he's coming out. He's going to meet with him on the 20th. He does poker commentary for the World Series of Poker, and he's done it for like 12 years now. And so I'll be talking to Joaquin soon, and I'll mention you and Noel and Phil. Maybe he already knows him. I don't know, but it'd be great if we could have you guys do a show out here. I'd love to help promote it and maybe do 5 minutes. I opened for Steve Byrne New Year's like 3 years ago. It was exhilarating. It was kind of like what you said, where I was just kind of cobbling stuff together, but it worked out. It worked out okay. I got some laughs. So it's not as easy as they make it look, but they're professionals.
Yeah, exactly.
They're good at it.
And the thing is, like Phil always tells me, the thing is that you got to try, and not just Phil, but like a lot of other comics that I've talked to that are been in the game for a long time. They always tell me the same thing, bro. You got to just keep going up to try. You just got to keep doing, and you'll find your rhythm. Everybody tells me the same thing. The more you get up on stage, the more comfortable you're gonna get with the mic and talking to people, and just you're always gonna get nervous no matter what, because you don't know what to expect. But once you're up there, once you get that first laugh, that first couple laughs, then like I feel like, okay, I think I could handle him, like I could feel it, like okay, this is gonna work. So then the nerves kind of come down and shit a little bit, but either way, I still like no matter what, I still get nervous, man. But it's because like at the end of the day, like I was telling Phil one time, it's just that I respect the craft so much. I don't want to make a mockery out of it either. You know what I'm saying? And that's why that's my perspective as far as like it took me so long too to like actually do something and get and start doing shows, because even for a couple of minutes that I was going up there not having a set, it was still like, okay, I wasn't taking it seriously enough, but because I wasn't trying to be a comic, like I never gave it thought, bro. In a million years, if you would have told me 10, 15 years ago, I'm going to be doing stand-up, I would have said it's not going to happen because that was never in my mind. I've always wanted to be an entertainer, but, I always thought I was doing music and acting because, that's where I was at, but I never, like, if you would have told me, when, 10 years ago, you're going to be doing stand-up, I would have just said it's not going to happen because it's not in my mentality to do stand-up. And like I said, and although I grew up watching, like Red Fox, Richard Pryor, like Rodney Dangerfield, like all these guys, old school guys. And that's why I respect the craft so much because I always, I used to stay up watching Johnny Carson and, so I used to watch these guys, man, and Eddie Murphy and everybody, but Robin Williams, like these were all guys that I looked up to, but never gave it a thought of me doing stand-up, like I just love watching them perform, that was it. So it's just crazy, man. It's just crazy. You never know where life's going to take you, man.
That's amazing. You know what? We've had like such parallel lives, except for the hair part, obviously. But but we've had such parallel lives. I'm getting to the point where I think I might. I had let it grow long. I had it shoulder length because of the pandemic, and I had a full beard. And when I went and they cut it, and they literally, it was like a one. It was. I barely had hair, and I kind of liked it. Now it's been about 3 months, and this is just how long it's gotten. That's how short they cut it, and I kind of liked it, So
yeah,
it's cholo, man.
It's easy. It's easier to fucking keep the style, You don't got to do much after you get out of the shower.
That's perfect. I love it. And you know what? I mean, it's like I just kind of glossed over this. You doing stand-up, it's almost natural. I mean, you have one of the greatest minds in your corner, and I'm sure that if you asked him for help, and maybe he's already helped you, my goodness, you are the star of Lopez, which is the show by George Lopez on TV Land. And forgive me, I don't know all the details. And it's a great show. I mean, I saw it, but I don't know if it's, if it's streaming right now, or I'm sure you can find it anywhere in video on demand. It is such a funny show, such a great show. But you're friends with George. I mean,
yeah.
I know it's tough though sometimes to go because I'm friends with like Bobby Lee. I mean, at least I used to be, when I did Matt TV and whatnot, and Steve Byrne and a lot of these wonderful, amazing, Butch Bradley now and Jeffrey Keller. And so I know that if it's on me, like I need to reach out and go, I'm ready. Can you help me? Or can you at least look at my set and give me some? But then again, it's like I don't want to take advantage of their friendship. So I don't know if it's like that with you and George, but I know that it's my understanding, and I've met George a couple times throughout my life, and he's always been nice. The first time was in Las Vegas when he and Carlos Mencia were working together. This is how long ago this is.
Yeah.
Back in the 90s, back in the 1900s. And they were at the Mirage, and they did a set, and he was super nice. And I almost worked on Mencia's show when he was filming it there in Hollywood when I was on Matt TV and on CiTRic the Entertainer Presents. And so I'm sure you have a champion in your corner. You have George Lopez, one of the greatest comedians in the world. And also being Latino and whatnot. And you're on his show, so I'm sure maybe there's something. And it's always easier for somebody on the outside to go like, "Well, just ask George." But we got to do it ourselves, though. I get it.
Yeah, no, what's crazy because it's like what you said. Like sometimes I don't want to ask, like certainly, but with George, man, the first time I did that with that Not Your Average Comedy show with out there in Ventura, that was like my first official show. I posted it up on my Instagram, whatever, and he commented on there, and he heard about it, and he said, he goes, "Hey, congratulations, CiTRic," because he calls me CiTRic. He gives everybody a different name and shit. So he called me, he just turns your name into something else. So he started calling me CiTRic when we were filming the Lopez show, which, by the way, you can still catch it on Amazon. It's on Amazon Prime. Yeah. And he congratulated me on it. He goes, "Hey, congratulations, CiTRic, you popped your cherry," And I've never had to ask him for advice, but he's come out on his own. Like he's told me, like, he goes, "Hey, so now that you're doing stand up, one of the advice I could give you, man," he goes, try to host as many shows as you can, no matter how big this event is. Just get up there and grab that mic. And he's one of the first ones that told me that. He goes all the time, grab the mic as much as you can, and just get out there, man, and practice your shit. Just practice whatever, man. Whatever you got in mind, just work it out, man. And that's the same thing that Phil tells me, like work it out in your mind and then just go out and do it, man. And if it works, it works. And then you kind of just make those adjustments. But that's one of the advice that always sticks with me, like just get on there as much as you can and host, And so I've been doing a lot of shows. Well, right now, like now I'm starting to kind of like do like features. But I was doing like in the last few months I did a hosting for like a lot of events, so that helped, man, and it did help me to like build up for these bigger shows, that we've been doing, but yeah, but George, yeah, anytime he tells me, he goes, anytime you need advice, hit me up, and he goes, I'm here, man, and yeah, the times that I have hit him up, he always hits me back right away and he tells me this and he'll break it down. And, he's giving me advice like that from stand-up to financial advice to, like just a bunch of, just precious gems, man.
Amazing. That's wonderful. Yes. Yeah. Wonderful. It's great that you have such an amazing resource, but it also, that speaks to who the type of person you are. You're such a wonderful guy. And of course, people want to help you because you're an expert in some other things. I could come to you if I decided to get into the music game. I'm sure you are a wealth of knowledge when it comes to music. So, and obviously now TV and getting into acting and all these things. So it's nice. What I really wanted to make 2022 about was collaboration. And I feel like this is part of it, doing this podcast. So I really thank you for being along on my journey of me reaching out and you saying yes, that you be here. You even did what all the white people do, which is you actually use Calendly. You're like, I'm gonna schedule this. So
yeah, no, I was tripping out. I was like, oh, this is pretty easy, I was like, yeah, let's do it, man.
and it's a great platform, I think, to use. So thank you. Yeah, and hopefully maybe we can do something here. Maybe we can stand up here because Butch Bradley offered to. I think we're going to create a show for Fireside where he's going to help me with my stand up and cultivate a whole show. So if you want to be a part of that, I'll let you know. We were thinking I think Wednesdays. Maybe I'm making it up. I don't know, but I got to reach out to him and see if we can set something up here where we're going to work on our stories, and then he'll go like, okay, this is a funny part. This is a funny part. So if you want to be involved, I'll let you know.
Yeah, no, I'll be done with it, man. I'll be honored, man.
Awesome. Let's go back into your history a little bit, if you don't mind. And how are you doing on time? Are you okay with time? Or
yeah, I'm cool right now, bro.
Okay, let me know, because sometimes I can pull a Joe Rogan, and next thing you know. So wonderful. Okay, so you're from East LA, like we mentioned at the top of the show, and you're an inspiration, I would imagine, to many actors, but also that happen to be Latino. And so it's not an easy road, even when you're so close. It was like me and improv being, an hour outside of Chicago, but not knowing about improv, not having access to it until I did the research. And now, of course, it's a lot easier. But and it's a shame. So same. Where did you grow up?
East LA, Boyle Heights. So and I say Boyle Heights because I was born in Boyle Heights. Back in the days it was called General Hospital. And Boyle Heights. It's weird because a lot of people don't like to people don't like people that are hardcore Boyle Heights citizens don't like to be called East LA, even though it's part of East LA. It's just that there's Boyle Heights and then there's the city of East LA, but they're together, connected. There's just one street that divides it. And I don't ever understand, because I always say East Los Boyle Heights because I grew up on both sides. I was born in Boyle Heights, but I grew up on both sides. So I always claim East LA, Boyle Heights, So shout out to all my peoples out there, man. And, I'm just trying to make everybody proud too, man, and I get a lot of love from a lot of people that are from Boyle Heights, and they have told me, like I'm an inspiration for them, and they're trying to get into the entertainment, whether it's acting or stand up or they're trying to do music. I get a lot of cats that hit me up on the music side, because they remember us when we had back in the days, it was called Browntown, and then it went to Browntown Looters and then Pueblo Cafe, which is the same shit, just in Spanish, We started doing Spanish hip hop,
It's amazing to hear you I guess you're a rapero. Is that what we're called in
A
Spanish?
rapero, yeah. One
Yeah,
time
man.
my mom goes, my mom got mad. She goes, ¿eres ratero? And I go, no, rapero.
No, ratero,
Ratero.
rapero.
I was a burglar. Like, nah, man, a rapper, rapero.
Ratero.
Sí, she thought I said ratero, eh? She was already gonna fuck me up.
Oh my God, that's so funny. No, but folks, check out Pueblo Cafe on YouTube, and I'm sure wherever music is streaming.
Yeah.
And there are some hit songs there. I wish I would have known you there, because I'd love to be in one of your upcoming. If you do another video, I'd love to be at least get the chance to audition for it if you can. I call myself a Chicano from Chicago.
That's right.
Chicano.
The real gangster city.
The real gangster city. Midwest. Midwest side. Yeah. I like to say that I'm from the west side suburb of Chicago.
Oh man, that's major history there, bro.
Heck yeah. And I did time. I did 12 years in parochial school, so I'm a badass. I went to Catholic school for 12 years. It wasn't easy, my friend, but I did time. So
that's what it is, man.
Amazing. So
Catholic schools are always the worst, Dougie.
It wasn't easy being Paul Vato when I was known as. I was gonna say it wasn't easy being Paul Vato when I was Paul Rodriguez. You know that's my name though, right? Paul Rodriguez. Did I ever tell you this?
Oh shit! So yeah, you don't want to get compared to the other comedian. Get mixed up.
Yeah, and I'm sure if George meets me again, he'll go like, "Hey, Vito." I'm sure he'll change it from Vato to Vito or something. So before I forget, I do want to, and I know the story, but I would like the people that are here and listen to this later to hear the origin story of your name. But first, let's touch base a little bit on Browntown and Browntown Looters, because you had some success in Japan as well, did you not? I mean, did you tour Japan, or what was that part of your history like?
Yeah, this was like I want to say like in 97, 98 era. Yeah, it was like 97, 98. We went out to Japan, and because we had one song that blew up out there. It was called Noisy Minorities. And at that time, we were going as Browntown, and I think it was Browntown Looters. We were as Browntown Looters, but the song blew up on a compilation that was called Definition of Brown. It got out there, and that song blew up, and we didn't know. We really didn't know what was going on when we got the call about performing in Japan. If we were down to go out to do a couple shows, and they got a hold of us and some other homies that we were working with at the time from a clothing company. At that time, there was a clothing company called Top Nation and Street Smart. I think it was a Street Smart or Street Smart Clothing. I think it was. And those guys, they sold a lot of clothing in Japan, right? So they had a hookup out there. So one of the promoters from out there tells them, "Hey, by any chance, do you know how I can get a hold of these guys, Browntown?" And showed them a picture. And then my boy Germ and Julian, shout out to Germ and Julian. They go, yeah, that's the matter of fact. That's those are our homies. Those are our friends. Like, no way, yeah. So they made it happen. So they put us on a tour out there, man. We're out there for like a week, and we had a couple of shows. But the main show that we did, that was like the biggest show, was like the Lowrider Super Show out there. And then when we got there, we thought we were just like one of the openers, and the guy goes, our translator and our tour guide was telling us, he goes, "Nah, man," he goes, you guys are the headliners. And I'm like, the headliners, we're only ready to do like 20 minutes of a show at the most, And then he goes, yeah, and well, who else performing? He goes, nah, well, that's it, just you guys, And like, what do you mean? Just we only came for like a 20-minute show. Oh no, you guys got to do at least an hour. I'm like, oh, great. But good thing my DJ at the time, he had always came prepared, with extra music. Good thing I knew a lot of the other songs, and even though a lot of the songs we didn't practice, we practiced for a certain set, we still knew a lot of the songs. We had them, it was just a little recap. Sometimes I would just listen to real quick and then, okay, cool. And then now I'm ready, we're ready to do this shit. But But man, I gotta tell you, man, that shit was wild, man. When I got off stage, I mean, first of all, it was a huge crowd, man. It was like maybe like 20,000 people in the crowd, and so we, you know what I'm saying? We already got paid. There was no way we could say no. We couldn't back down. You know, we had to do the full hour. So it was like, so we did it, man. By the time I got off stage, I shit you not, man. As soon as I walked off it was a big stage. Then they had some stairs that go down into the backstage area to the dressing rooms. As soon as I didn't even I don't think I made it down all the way down the stairs. I remember I just not fell, like, you know, like by accident on purpose. I just let myself drop, and I was just laying there for like 10 minutes, man. They were, hey, you all right? They're gonna call paramedics. I'm all right. Just let me catch my breath, bro. I need some air. I had never did a full hour show like that, man. You know, like the most we ever did was like 30 minutes, you know, at the most, you know.
Man. Now I could see, like, if that happened in comedy, you're like, shit, I'm not prepared. Yeah. But I can, you know, I'll just talk. You can't just well, I guess you can freestyle, but I mean, come on, you can't like make up songs. You
can't make shit up as you go. You know, you gotta have shit ready. You know, so good thing my DJ had all the instrumentals, and you know, he knew where all of them were at, queued up. You know, so it was easy for him to, like, fuck it, okay, let's do it. You know, like, we'll stretch it out. No big deal. And then you know, a good thing, you know, he knows all the songs, all the lyrics. So if I forget something, you know what I'm saying, like, those guys would catch it. Him and my other partner, Skinny, he was doing my backups. So and the choruses, so he knew all the lyrics to the songs. So yeah, if I would miss a beat on something, he would jump in, he would catch it, and we made it work. You know, it would, like, the audience wouldn't even be able to tell. So we were in sync like that. So we had, you know, it was like practice drills. You know, you do sometimes, and it was a good thing because that shit came in handy for that show, especially, man, because, you know, some groups just go like, okay, we're doing 15 minutes, 20 minutes. That's all they have. That's all they're set. And that's all they have practice for, you know? And, you know, and that's how we were. But at the same time, because of all the other practice drills, and we would practice other songs, even if we weren't going to perform them, but we would practice them just to have them, you know, like in the head, you know, just a practice drill, just in case you never knew. And it came out, to one of those situations.
Amazing. It just shows that mentality of always being prepared. I mean,
yeah, man, you just never know.
It's a great motto. It's a great thing to live by, because you could have just been like, no, we can't. We only have 20 minutes. We didn't know we were going to have to. Well, you know what? You should have been prepared. So you stepped up, you did it. And I was going to make the joke that not that it matters, because you could have said anything. They're Japanese. They didn't speak English anyway. So
yeah, no, yeah. But you know what was the craziest shit that tripped me out while we were there is when we went out. We were backstage hanging out. We're chopping it up. We're talking to the promoter, and then, you know, amongst the group, we're just going over, okay, the songs that we're gonna add in to make up for that full hour. You know, we were going over certain shit. And then, but it just seemed so quiet outside, you know? And I'm like, dude. And then it was snowing to top it off, right? That day, it was snowing hard. It was like a blizzard. And I'm like, dude, I go, I don't hear nobody. I tell the promoter, are you sure people are gonna show up? Because it sounds awfully quiet. He goes, no, they're out there. There's cars. They're looking at the cars walking around. There's already people sitting in front of the stage. And I'm like, all right, well, let me go out there and check it out. Because I honestly thought, I go, man, there's no fucking way people are going to show up. It's snowing. But I went out there, and there was a nice group of people out there, you know, walking around, you know, because it was at a convention center, so it was all spread out, but you could see the people walking around. And then there was people sitting in front of the stage. There was no seats. They were sitting on the floor with their legs crossed, but like quiet. They were talking, but like quietly amongst themselves. And I'm like, damn, these people are like really fucking polite. You know, that's the first thing that went through my mind, you know? And they were just sitting there, you know? And so, I went backstage and I said, cool, whatever, you know? And then the guy was telling me, he goes, people show up, even when it snows, rains, don't matter, because there's trains that come in from all over Tokyo, from outside of Tokyo. They come and they drop them off here direct. So people don't even really have to drive here. They just take the train, and it drops them off literally in the convention center. There's like an area where the train goes in, and they had it was an inside train station inside the convention center. So people get off and boom, They go straight to the ticket where the ticket line is at, and they get in. So I was impressed by that one too. Just all their technology, I was impressed, man, that they had over there, man. They were telling, everything's like 10 years ahead over there, and I was like tripping out. But yeah, no, so when it was showtime, I remember our intro had started off with a chopper helicopter, and it was like news clips from East LA, Boyle Heights, like at that time all the shit that was going on, and so we threw all that shit in. So these motherfuckers, all of a sudden, they hear the chopper, they hear all that, and Browntown Looters this and that, and just my DJ was just mixing in a lot of shit, and you start hearing like the crowd just getting loud and loud and loud, and I was like, what the fuck? So then when we finally stepped up on stage, you have to go up the stage, you go up, and then when you get up on top, then you see everything, So when we got up there, it was like, man, the crowd went nuts. Like, it was just wild. It was just like 20,000 people, and I was like, damn, like the whole thing was, the kid went through my head was like, where did all these motherfuckers come from? Because when I looked out earlier, there was people there, but it wasn't like bad like that. And then the homies were just tripping out too. And we went out there in ski masks when we first went up there, and so the people weren't even were going like really crazy for it. And when we took out the ski masks, threw them out, they were fighting for that shit. It was just wild. I go, man, I thought they were polite, man, but I guess not. And then everybody looked like cholos and Crips and Bloods. That's what made it even more funnier, because I looked at people, man, and I was like, it was kind of like looking at each other, man. But they would take out they had the dark glasses, they would take them off, and then you see, that they were Japanese, but it was funny because they were all bald heads, khakis, just gangster attire, man. And then you saw some fools that were red, some fools all blue, and then they were talking to each other, and they were hanging out together. I remember in the beginning, I told the promoter, "Hey, is everything gonna be all right, man?" He goes, "Oh yeah, no, they're not gangsters here, man. It's just they're into the fashion. They love the fashion, man. They love that LA fashion, Chicano hip hop, the whole culture." From lowriders to gangsters, they love that shit, man. I'm like, damn, that's wild, bro. But yeah, they were really peaceful, but they just looked violent the way they were dressed, obviously. Yep. I think hold on, my bad. I think it muted.
Oh, you know what? It was me.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that. I'm a horrible host. Sorry about that. Okay, I might cut that out then. Sorry about that. I'm so interested in listening to your story. Yeah, I can only imagine that. I mean, because I'm a fan of documentaries, and I've watched documentaries, and especially on the Chicano culture, if you will, in Japan. I mean, we're like a big deal there. They love. I mean, they're into also like lucha libre, the cholo culture, and all that. The lowriders, and it's just so funny to see these guys, and you see them, you're like, look at all these, what are all these Mexicans doing in Japan? And then you're right, they take their glass off, where you're like, oh no, they're clearly Japanese, but they love the culture, and it must have been frightening to see Bloods and Crips like next to each other, just chatting because they like blue and one likes red.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the crazy part of it. And I kept asking the promoter, man, hey, are we good on stage? Like, are we good with security here? Because this shit looks kind of sketchy, bro. And he goes, oh, no, don't worry, it's just a fashion thing here, man. They're not gangsters, man. It's just a fashion thing. And I go, damn, that's wild, man.
That's crazy. I love it. I would love to. I have not been to Asia, so that's on my bucket list when I do my travel show. Is go to Asia and meet people that I've only met on social audio. That's my idea for a show. Is I want to do a show where I meet people that I've only met on social audio, and not just do it in the U.S., but do it throughout the world. So maybe you can join me on a leg of that trip. I really want to do. I want to do something with me and you on Greyhound, maybe through the U.S.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine.
Yeah, that shit will be comedy, man.
Ooh, comedy gold. So your name CiTRic, and I know I think I know the origins, but maybe if you could share that, and more specifically, I want to know why you stylize it, capital C, little I, TR, little I, capital C. That's my question. But if you want to share how you got the name CiTRic, or Citro, I know you got Citro from George Lopez, but CiTRic, it's such a great nickname.
Yeah, I mean, the way I got it is because one of my homies, rest in peace, back in the days, we used to go to all these house parties everywhere, right? So I used to do, get on the mic too, and do, we start busting, freestyles, written stuff, and we would just perform for at a house party, random shit. Especially when my DJ was DJing, they would hire him a lot to DJ in all these house parties, and I would go with them, right, just to hang out. And sometimes they would tell me, get on the mic, just fuck around, man. It's like during certain, in between certain sets. So he would throw on an instrumental, and I get on and bust it, and people were, get pumped up. So my boy that gave me the name CiTRic, his name is Boxer. They used to call him Boxer, rest in peace. And he lived next door where I was living at the time. And he's the one that connected me with my DJ. He's the one that told me, goes, you got to meet my boy Clear, he's a DJ. You guys might be able to do something. So he's the one that connected us. And he would always hear, hey, we saw your boy, because he used to call, my name is Anthony, but everybody in my neighborhood or from back in the days, like my family and everybody that knows me since I was a kid, call me Tony. Sure. People would tell him, hey, we seen your boy, your boy Tony, your boy T over there performing. So he would tell me, he goes, bro, you're like citric acid. You're everywhere. And what the fuck? What do you mean I'm everywhere? He goes, yeah, I hear that you're everywhere. And then I go, and then I really never really paid much attention to citric acid. I heard of, citric acid, obviously, but I just never really paid attention to it. And then I go, well, what do you mean by I'm everywhere like citric acid? Started telling me, he goes, if you look at the back of Pepsi cans or soda cans in general, like maybe shampoo and stuff like that, you'll see citric. Go, that's you, bro. You're everywhere, doggy. So yeah, in the beginning, I was just like whatever, and then they just kind of stuck, and then started calling myself CiTRic T, with the T, and then just dropped the T and they just kept the CiTRic. And then later on, people just started calling me Big C, Big CiTRic. And I just still with Big CiTRic.
I love it. Yeah, that is so funny that somebody would pick up on that the fact that citric acid is everywhere. They're like, that's like fucking tea over there. That's another thing that you and I kind of share, and that is the being everywhere. Because my friends, they didn't come out with a clever name like that, but they were like, you were like 3 parties this weekend. Like, how, I just left a party and you were there. How are you here already? Yeah. So I always got busted. Now, and at one point I said, like, oh, I have a twin brother. So some people think that I have a twin brother because I'd be like, yeah. Maybe you saw my twin, because I know he was going to another party. But I was almost embarrassed to say that it was me. That was me at all those parties.
Oh, man.
So, yeah. But that's such a cool name. And then is it just random, or why do you stylize it capital C?
On that because I know for one I thought it just looks better, but the main reason is because a lot of people always confuse it as critic. Like I've had people go, "Hey, it's Big Critic," "Hey, Critic." Shit like that, yeah, I'm gonna criticize you, motherfucker. Shut up.
Yeah, I'm gonna call you critic because you're always complaining, man.
Yeah, so it's easier to read. It's more legible, the eyes.
You're right. You're right. That makes sense. It's funny, just the way names evolve, because I started out with my friends were trying to figure out, everyone gets a nickname, especially like in college and whatnot. And it started out with, I was like probably the only Latino that they knew, so they were like, "What's up, Cholo? What's up, SA? What's up, FA? What's up, Pablo? What's up?" And then I think it went from, and then it went to Vato, because Blood In, Blood Out came out, right?
Yeah.
And then so everyone was like, "Orale, Vato. What's up, Vato?" So it was Vato, and I didn't get called Vato until I moved to Hollywood, and I ran into Latinos, and they're like, "Oh, Paul Vato." And I'm like, Yeah, Paul Vato. So I'd be sitting at my cigar shop. My first business was an ice cream shop. I'd sit in my cigar shop, and the name Vato Cigars is right there. You saw it, and
Yeah.
then Latinos would walk by. They're like Vato, and I'd be like, oh, somebody that knows me. I'm like, no, it's because you chose a name that all Latinos use.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
But that's how my name that's how it came. That's how it was.
That's a good name, man. Like, it's a good name, man. Paul Vato.
I just realized that my screensaver changed, and I was like, holy shit! I hope it's not my photos. I'm like,
got a bunch of naked pictures popping up all of a sudden.
Yeah. Which I'm sure you wouldn't mind the ones on the Playboy model, or my friend would send me pictures of her boobs. But if it's all of a sudden my little wiener pics, forget that. You don't want to see that. But it's actually all the music that I listen to. So I've got anything from The Cure to Fred Fender to New Order to classical. Yeah, I see The Cure. Friday, I'm in Love. So, how did you get into rap? We're going to go back just a little bit because I know. Did you meet? Was it Kid Frost, or was it just because he was in the game, or was there some kind of connection to get you into the rap game?
Well, basically, I was already doing rap before Frost and Mallow came out, and I started doing like in the late '80s, like '88, like '89 is where I started kind of like, trying to rap, like I was like listening to songs like from Tone Loc, Young MC, cats like that, that were blowing raw bass. Who else was De La Soul? I would write down the lyrics and I would try to memorize the shit, and then I had instrumentals, and I had one of those like the karaoke machines with the double tape deck. So I would record, to just kind of make my demo like that, and it sucked, but I was trying to give it a shot. And my homie at the time too, his name is Mario, and they used to call him Token, and he's the one that started teaching me how to really like flow, like how to lay the flow down. And then, but I was already starting to do stuff around 80, 89, and the homies from the neighborhood used to trip out, like if I would tell them, they would like be like, why are you doing that? That's for black people. That's black music. And like, dude, you fucking listen to it. We all know what's the difference, And then the Beastie Boys were out, the Beastie Boys came out. And I go, look, these guys are white. They're doing it, So, but after a while, I just like I wouldn't even pay attention to them fools, whatever. I would just keep doing my own thing. And it wasn't until about when Malo Mayonnaise came out with Mentirosa, and even though he's black, but he's Cuban black, and he's still Latino. He was doing Spanglish shit, and that just kind of like opened it up for Latino, set it off, And then right after that, Kid Frost came out with La Raza, and that even opened up even more doors, and that just set off a whole nother generation of Mexican rappers, which eventually turned into Chicano rap. But at that time, nobody was calling it Chicano rap, So by that time, when Frost came out, we had already cut a demo. We had already did a couple demos. I was already with my crew with Browntown. We had finally, we got together. We cut a demo, and it was called Dope House in the Ghetto. And we were getting ready to go out and promote it. But I'm getting ahead of myself. But before that, before we even cut the demo, I remember we did our first major show that we did was at a car show. We opened up for Kid Frost. That's when Kid Frost was, blowing up. And so we met him that day, and we did the song. We did a couple songs, and he thought our show was dope. It was cool, and that was it. We just kept it cool, whatever. Although one of the guys in the group had beef with Frost from a while back. So, but I don't know, it was weird. They cut the beat that day, but then it got worse again. And then we're backing up the homies, so there was some kind of beef for a while between us and Frost. But it was nothing like I wasn't really like tripping. It was just more like because I'm backing up the homie and shit, part of our crew, that's all it was. But eventually all that shit got squashed. But yeah, like a few months later, man, we ended up dropping our first single. We got a record deal with an independent record label, and we got fucked on the deal, but we still, we were able to put out the single. It's like they say, it's like if you don't get fucked in this game at least once, you're in the wrong business, because
it's
crazy, man.
Music business, the movie business, the entertainment business in general. That first time, you're probably going to get fucked, and then you learn how not to get fucked as much, and then hopefully you don't fuck anyone else. But it's that's the name of the game, man. So I'm glad you made it through. because it's not easy to do that and then to be Latino and doing it. So I'm glad you didn't listen to your homies. Like you said, we were all listening to it. We were all
exactly.
and every single artist you mentioned was an influence on me. And I've never been, into the music business, but it was definitely all very influential. And it didn't matter that they happened to be black or whatever. And then when it comes to being Latino, African Latino, I mean, that's Cuba, that's the Dominican, that's Puerto Rico, all that. So it's great that you didn't listen to the naysayers and continued and brought some wonderful art.
Greetings, my Vatos locals, and now a quick word from one of our sponsors, me. Hi, I'm Paul Vato, and I want to thank you so much for listening to Paul Vato Presents, where we have another very fun and exciting guest. If you're enjoying yourselves, please consider supporting us on our Patreon page, and also if you could head on over to either Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or wherever you consume your podcast, and give us a like, a follow, a share, maybe even leave us a review. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being here.
Do you know Lalo Alcaraz, who does La Cucaracha, and like Esteban Zul? Because I know Esteban Zul and this guy and these few other guys had a group back in the day called Aslan Nation.
Yeah, we toured with them guys. Matter of fact, we did a show in Berkeley Square in 1992, right before our single "Dos Pasos in the Ghetto" dropped. One of our homies that was rolling with them at the time, MC Machete, he was doing all the Spanish stuff because the other guys, they knew Spanish, but they really didn't know Spanish. My boy Machete, his real name is Wasim, he was really great in writing and reading and rapping in Spanish. So he was one of the first to like really do like all Spanish stuff. And he was rolling with them at that time with Aslan Nation. And they were doing a show up in Berkeley Square in 1992. And I think that's the first time I met them, or I had already met them before. Not 100% sure, but after that we started kicking it hard. Like we would hang out. When they come to LA, you know what I'm saying? We'd hang out with them over here. We go up north, we'd hang out with them. And they would always watch our back. We'd watch their back down here because that whole norteño, sureño shit, But we didn't play that game. They didn't play that game. So when they would come out to LA and do shows, we would always show up because we were there to support and and make sure they were good, while they were out here. And to vice versa, we go up there and they make sure that we were good. Same thing with some other guys they were working with, brown skin artists. They were called BSA, and they would take care of us out there, and the show was a good time, and vice versa, But we did a show with them. They pulled us up on stage to do one song, and they were opening up for Money B, and the group was called Raw Fusion, which was Money B and DJ Fuse from Digital Underground. And that night is the night when we met Tupac. When Tupac had just finished doing the movie Juice, and obviously his first album was out, did good, Tupacalypse Now, and we met. We were already like fans of Tupac, So when we saw, and of course Digital Underground, but when we saw Tupac there, and it was just like, damn, he came up on stage, did a song with Money B, and we got to hang out with him backstage, and we chopped it up. Hella cool dude, man. It's just like really humble, man. Everybody wanted to take a picture and, get him to sign something. And he was doing all that, and he still took the time to sit up with us and chop it up for a minute, And then after we did our performance, his manager and I think, I don't know if it was the owner of the label or they had a company called TNT Recordings. I remember he came up to us and we had just signed a deal to drop Dos Pasos in the Ghetto, which was our first single, like 2 weeks before that. And the guy sits down in front of us, and I think his name was Greg, or I can't remember his name, man, but I remember he was dressed up in a suit, had a suitcase, sat in front of us, pulled out a suitcase, opened up the suitcase, and he goes, "Hey, you guys signed? He goes, "Are y'all signed?" And then he starts putting out contracts. Like he was trying to get us to sign already right there. And we're like, "Man, we just signed a deal, man, for a single like 2 weeks ago with so-and-so." And he's all like, "Oh, all right, never mind, man." Put the contract back in the briefcase. He goes, "Hey, you guys are dope, though, man." And he shook our hand and he walked away.
You know what? You got to be prepared. And obviously, he saw the talent, and obviously so. I would do the same thing. But that's a manager right there. It's like I'm going to get these guys. And
man.
Story 30 years later, man. So
what a trip, though, man.
What a trip. Yeah, I just all of a sudden I kind of put it together. I'm like, well, because they were also Chicano rappers, but yeah, they were from Berkeley.
Yeah.
Aslan Nation.
Aslan Nation, man. Shout out to them, man.
Yeah. I'll connect you with them because they do a show every week on KPFK called
I've been on there.
of Power. So
Yeah, it's over here in Hollywood, the station. I went there a couple years ago. I was on there. We were promoting some shit, and Lalo interviewed us because we were promoting an event for the homie Antonio Pelayo. He does events out here like La Bulla and El Velorio. He does like these big events out here in LA. And we were on there on that station promoting. I think it was La Bulla. It's like a wrestling, like Mexican wrestling style event. You know, you got all these luchadores that come through. They have a ring, and they have wrestling matches, and it's pretty dope, man. He does it once a year. And we were promoting on there with Lalo, and Lalo remembered me. He goes, "Hey, CiTRic, man, what's up?"
Hey, Critic, what's up? I'm call you Critic.
Yeah, man. But no, hella cool dudes, man, and their music, man. Their music was incredible, man. Steve, man, he had that voice, man. He had the chops, man, the flow, man. It was just dope, man. It was tight when we would do shows with him to see those guys perform, man. They had like a sick ass show lineup, man. They were a big inspiration to us, man.
Wow, amazing. Maybe we should do a reunion show because I mean you guys are still doing it, and maybe I'll reach out to him. Maybe my mind's always working, trying to connect, trying to do something, you know. But I'm glad that you know them and you came up with them. I mean, you've known them years longer than I've known them, so that's wonderful. I met him when I first moved to LA in 2000 when I first came out from Chicago.
Oh, nice.
So
those guys hella cool people, man, and very talented, man. You know what I'm saying? And their whole thing was, you know, it was really political. You know, they were trying to make a statement, man. Like they had songs like, you know, like I think it was one of those songs that was the man. I can't remember the name of the song, man. But it was something like we didn't cross the border crossed us. I think, or was that? Because I know there was another group that did music like that which was man, I can't remember the name, man. But there was so many groups at the time who were doing political rap, and it was dope because you had people that were speaking for us, you know. Because I'll be honest with you, man, I've never been into politics. I see the bullshit, you know what I'm saying? But I've never really been into it and don't even know how to address certain shit. But these guys had the mind and the words for, you know, they were speaking for us, bro. They were just speaking for the raza, man.
And you like to speak to the people that drink tequila, so you know it's all right.
Yeah. you gotta have a speaker for everything, man.
Yeah. I like what you have to say. I'm the same way, you know, as far as politics go. I'm kind of in your camp, where but it is great to see people that will speak on our behalf and are able to do it in such an eloquent way, in such a rhythmic way. So kudos to Aslan Nation, and I'm glad that you guys kind of came up together and had each other's back. So what an exciting time in your history. So then, but now obviously I don't think you've converted over to acting because I still see that you put out music and whatnot. But how did you get into acting? How did you get discovered? How did that happen?
Basically through the music. You know, it's like I always say, music and movies go together. And I was on a website called brownpride.com, you know, ran by my boy Sal Rojas. And I remember they hit him up first. The people from the casting agency, they were casting a movie for Mike Judge, which at that time it wasn't called Idiocracy yet. But then, you know, they came out with the title after. They were just calling it a Mike Judge film, you know. And, you know, Mike Judge, creator of Beavis and Butthead and King of the Hill, you know, it does all of, you know, a lot of the voices, you know, Hank Hill's voice and Office Space. So I knew Mike Judge's work, you know. I was like, you know, I was a big fan, obviously, because of Beavis and Butthead, you know, and King of the Hill. And when they hit me with that one, they go, my boy Sal goes, "Hey, there's some people that are doing a casting for a Mike Judge movie and want to know if you're interested." You know, they said they want to get in touch with you and see if you're interested in coming in for a reading. I said, "Yeah, man." I go, at first, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't really tripping on it. I was like, "Nah," I'm like, whatever about it. And then I said, "Yeah, shoot me the info, see what's up. I'll hit him up." And then my boy Sal goes, "Dude, just hit him up, dog. This you know, this could be a whole nother game, man, a whole nother outlet for you, man. You never know what could come from that." And I said, "Yeah, it's true." You know, my boy Brown Weddle, rest in peace. He said the same thing because I wasn't gonna go, bro. I wasn't gonna, you know, hit them up. So I hit them up. They sent me the script, and my sides were, you know, and I had never did an audition in my life. So I was nervous about that, like super nervous, because I was like, man, I'm gonna go in there. I don't know what to do, man. I'm just be a fool, and everybody kept telling me, just go, just go. So I went. I did the audition, and Mary Renew Casting was the casting director. I went on with her, and then they hit me up like a couple of days later, and they go, "Hey, Mike Judge saw your video and your audition tape, and he's rolling in. He wants to do a reading, a sit down with you. He's coming in next, in I think 2 weeks." She said he's coming in, so we want you to have a reading with him. Sit down. So I said, "Cool, man." So then he came in, and I read, and we talked, and then he had me read a couple other different roles, and then he was just like. He's just like, man, you're funny, man. He goes, I really want to use you in this movie. I'm not sure for what part, but I really want to put you in this movie. And I said, hey, man, I mean, whatever happens, man. Whatever, if you can use me, cool, man. I'm not really tripping. And that was it. We shook hands, and yeah, we'll talk soon, whatever. A month went by. I didn't hear nothing. I totally forgot about it. I was just like, whatever. And I get a call, man. I was co-hosting a TV show. I was working at LETV at that time from 2000 to 2005, and this was around 2004, I want to say. And I was getting ready to go to work. I was having lunch across the street, and I was getting ready to go to the station to go. We would do a live taping once a month, and I was getting ready. And I get the call. I was having lunch, and I get the call, and they say, "Hey, this is so-and-so, from the Mary Renew Casting. We just wanted to tell you congratulations. You got the part and this and that." And I'm like, what part? I totally realized.
You didn't even have an agent. I
didn't even have an agent. I didn't have a manager. I had none of that shit, at that time, It's like I didn't even have a music manager at that time, because at that time I was doing music, but I wasn't really doing music. It was like I was just doing stuff here and there. And I wasn't really doing shows, that much. And if we did get shows, they would just come at me direct, So I was doing all the deals by myself. So I really didn't need a manager at that time or nothing like that. I wasn't, because I was doing the TV show. I was on the payroll, with the TV show with the LETV, and the show was called the Hip Hop Show. So I wasn't really tripping, I was like, I was working, so I wasn't like worried about it, and so it just totally slipped my mind. And then I asked her what part, and then she goes, the part that you came in audition for Mike Judge for the movie that we're doing. And like, oh, that movie. And then, yeah, what's up? Yeah, okay, so these are the days we're filming. We're going to fly you to Austin, Texas. You're going to have to be out there for a month. This is your game paid this much. You get like everything was just coming at me real fast. I'm like, what? Like I was just okay. Like I didn't know, like what. And we're going to send you the email with your itinerary and everything. And I was like, okay. And I just didn't know what to do, I was just like, all right. So I just like that I went to work that whole day, and it still didn't hit me till like the following day. I checked my email, and I was like, oh shit, like this is like really going down, And bro, I'll tell you one thing, man. At the last minute, when they came to pick me up, they even sent a fucking limo to come to my pad and pick me up. I was living in the hood at that time. And it was an apartment building, and everybody was like tripping out, like, what's this big old stretch limo outside, And I was just like, dude, it's like I was just tripping out. Like I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to do it. I started getting like cold feet, and I just like a lot of shit just started going through my mind. I'm like, what if I make everybody look stupid? What if I make Mike Judge look stupid? What if I get there and I'm not the right fit for the part, but I like just so much shit was going through my head, man, and everybody was calling me. The 20th Century Fox was calling me. My manager was trying to call me. Everybody was calling my boy. The only calls I was taking from my boy, my rap partner at the time was Brown Weddle, rest in peace. And he was telling me, "Dog, you gotta go, man. This is fucking Mike Judge, bro. You gotta go, man." And I kept telling him, I go, "Dude, I'm nervous. I don't know." I kept telling him everything that was going through my head. It was, "Bro, just go, man. You're gonna nail it, man. Just go, man." And yeah, it took a while, man. The limo drivers were knocking on my door. So finally, Mike Judge called me, man. Mike Judge was calling me. He called me a couple of times. I didn't pick up. I finally pick up like on the third try, and he goes, "Hey, and he sounded like Hank Hill, like not mad, but he sounded like Hank." And he goes, "CiTRic, everything all right? We need you to get on that plane, man. To be, you got to be out here, man. We got to do the tomorrow. We have a table reading tomorrow morning, so you got to get out here tonight, And all this, I was like, all right, no, I'm there, man. I'm just grabbing some last minute things, man. But I'm there. I'm going, man. And then, yeah, so I finally went out there, and jumped in that limousine, and it changed my life, man.
That's what a crazy story. I mean, wow. Well, Mike Judge must have really seen something in you, because it's such a rich character, such a great character. Did you have a wig or
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah,
Did you have a similar look?
Yeah, I had to do they had to do a custom made wig and everything. I had to go to a fitting, they're measuring my dome, and they had this tape measuring around me, and then the lady, it was I remember it was at her house, and she had her house, and in the back, and she had a back house. The back house, the whole house was turned into like a studio for they make wigs and all kinds. So they have pictures of all the movies they worked on. Like they do all kinds of, like, not just wigs, but like special effects. And I remember they had stuff like from the Predator. Like they did a lot of work. Like special effects costumes for Predator. I was just like tripping. I'm just sitting in the room and just looking around at everything, just like in disbelief, because I always wanted to be entertainment, but and my whole thing was music, and we had just signed a record deal with a Spanish record label out of Mexico, one of the biggest record companies out of Mexico, and we were getting ready to go on tour and do this whole Spanish album, and they had everything lined up for us, and even the record label said, "Put everything on hold. When you come back, we'll resume everything. Don't worry about it, man. Just go out there, man." And it was a good thing, because while I was out there, Mike Judge goes, "Hey, man, I know you do music." He goes, "I want to hear some of your shit." So I called the record company and told him, "Hey, can you send me some CDs so I could give to the director and the writer of the movie, Mike Judge. He wants to hear some shit." So they overnighted me some CDs. I gave it to him the next day. And then during lunch, we were talking. The following day at lunchtime, he hit me up and he goes, "Hey, bro, there's like 3 songs that I hear on your CD that I really like, man." He goes, I want to put them in the movie." And I was just like, "Well, yeah, dude, whatever, man, whatever you think works." So I would just talk to the record label, "Man, you guys work it out, and we'll make it happen." He said, "Oh, no sweat, man." So yeah, so when the movie was done filming, I thought, like, I didn't really think much of it. Yeah, no, the next day, the label calls me up and they go, "Hey, we're working a deal right now to get you 3 songs on the movie, and this and that," and that set off a whole nother thing, man. That became a whole nother paycheck too, because out of that, I started when the album came out, and then Idiocracy came out, and then a lot of people, were listening to it, especially now, because now you got Shazam and all that. So the music on Idiocracy, it made it to Silicon Valley and HBO. Like, I just started licensing music like all over, man, because of Mike Judge. Like, now I get hit up by all kinds of people like to license shit,
Amazing. And you know what? I didn't realize that part of the story. I'll have to go back and I just watched the movie just randomly. I'll watch it every 5 years. I'll probably watch it. And I just watched it maybe less than a month ago. And I think that's what got me thinking about you. I was like, oh, you know what? I got to reconnect with Anthony, with CiTRic over here. So, because it's such a great character. Oh, yeah. You know what? I'm going to take a screenshot. Can you do that face again?
Like that or without it?
Hang on. Do it both ways. Perfect, buddy. Thank you. And that is like, that's, mine is, like crazy. You've got this great face with goatee, and I love that. I mean, at an instant, before the flash or the phone clicks, you're like, and you got it. You've got this look that is such.
Yeah, it's funny because I started doing that face years ago. Back when I was like, I don't know, like 17, 16, and me and my homies used to always. I was in Mexico. I had friends in Mexico, because I was out there for like 3 years. That's how I learned Spanish real good. Because I was getting into trouble over here, so my mom sent me over there for like 3 years, and I learned that. I went to school over there for so I learned. That's what. Yeah, for a long time I was mad at my mom, but then I thanked her for it because everything just worked out. I was able to do Spanish hip hop, and it worked out. Like to this day. So I used to do that face with the homies. We used to always play like just games like who could we're trying to make each other laugh, like who do stupidest faces, and I would always win with that face and shit. I would do that face and you know what I'm saying. So I would always get them cracking up and shit. So it always win, and it just stuck with me. My mom used to always get mad. "Hey, that's just gonna get stuck like that one day. You gotta stop doing it."
I know. Like old people are like, don't do that; it'll stick like that.
Yeah.
But the reason I always go like this is because I have two looks. Like if you're going to take my photo, especially when they, before cameras were so good, and if you needed a flash or if it's a dark, if I don't do anything, inevitably I look like this. I look, like I'm half asleep. So I always overcompensate, and then it just kind of became my look, like
Yeah.
like crazy. So that's the reason I do it. And then people, when I got hired, they're like, okay, do that look.
well, one of the reasons why I do it too, like in photos now, like I started doing that because the same thing. If I take pictures, it just looks like I just woke up. Like right now, like I'm just sitting here, and it just looks like I'm high as fuck. Like normally I usually am, but you know what I'm saying. For the most part, that's just the way I look. I got small little eyes, even if I'm high or not. You know what I'm saying? So that's just how I look. So when people say, "Are you high?" I always tell them a little bit. And then I just go about my day. But I do that face, and then it just gives it another look. Like, okay, this was awake.
Brilliant. Were you or are you? And if you don't want to talk about it, that's great. In the cannabis industry or adjacent, or because I know, did you have a clothing line? Do you still? I know you've had several businesses, and I don't know if it's something you want to talk about, or if not, no worries.
I mean, we used to be in the cannabis industry. My son and I used to grow for a while. And then when I got the Lopez gig, I kind of stopped. I stopped that for a while. Well, not that I stopped. It's just that we got raided. You know what I'm saying? So they raided the warehouse by accident, only because I didn't have my paperwork in order. That's the only reason why. Well, they didn't raid that. They raided us because somebody else said we're growing, but we had shit in order. But we were over the limit on on how many we were able to grow. So they got me on that. They arrested me, but I got bailed out that same day. But after that, I had just signed the deal with George, with TV Land, and I was just like, oh man, I'm gonna go to jail. I'm gonna fuck this whole shit up. So I was there. But when I went to court. It was a DA reject because we weren't the people they were looking for. When they found us by accident, they were looking for another warehouse that was maybe 3-4 blocks up, and that warehouse was doing like $1 million a month or some shit. Like not a month, but every 2 months. I don't know. It was huge. It was huge. They were doing like super huge. So that's the warehouse they were trying to shut down. Us, we were just doing what we were doing. It was peanuts. So they weren't worried about us. They were worried because like I said, a couple weeks later, they caught the real ones they were worried about. So my case got thrown out. So I was like, oh man, thank God, man. And then a month later, I started filming with George. So I just stopped, because then I started making money with George and doing with TV Land, and I wasn't tripping on it. But I've always been a big advocate in the cannabis industry because like in the early days when we were doing Browntown stuff, we were out there marching at the hemp rallies. We were like putting in work with the homie, rest in peace, Jack Herrera, which there's a bud called Jack Herrera, and
there is.
Yeah. And so, we got to hang out with him, and, I learned a lot from that man, he taught us so much shit, and we used to go to his office when he had his office out there in Van Nuys in the Valley, in San Fernando Valley, and we used to go out there, man, and hang out with him and blaze and chop it up, all kinds of shit. He would let us perform at the hemp rallies. I remember one time we did a show outside the Federal Building, man. and we even, like all the, the federal, FBI's walking around just making sure nobody was smoking weed on the premises and keeping it peaceful, but every rally we did was peaceful, and sometimes Cypress Hill would show up because, they were on tour at the time, and sometimes they would just show up, and it was just a beautiful time, man, because, we're just having a good time, man. We're just like a bunch of hippies, man, just having a good time, smoking weed and performing and just people everywhere.
Well, I mean, obviously, you guys were there. You're early adapters, I think now, as people are called. But the writing was on the wall, and I'm glad that you were one of the early advocates for it, because now it's and soon it'll probably be legal federally. That's I talked to a few casino owners, and their general consensus is like, no, we would never do anything here until it's legal federally.
That's the situation with everybody. We go. A lot of people are with it, but they're not 100% with it until it's federal, until it's it's regulated like alcohol basically, and that's what's going to happen. They're just trying to figure out how can we regulate this. You know what I'm saying? So that's really where it all falls down to with law enforcement, because they don't know how to regulate it like alcohol. Like they could test you, with alcohol if you're drunk driving, DUI. So they're trying to figure that out for weed. How are we gonna be able to regulate this? Because either way, regardless of anything, a lot of people are out there smoking and doing their thing. Just like there's drunk drivers or smoke, people are smoking, but I think drunk drivers are way more dangerous than weed smokers. I'll be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not advocating to smoke and go out and drive, but I'm just saying from my experience and my knowledge, I've seen it. A lot of people have seen it. Alcohol is more dangerous than cannabis is. And law enforcement, they don't know how to regulate it. So that's the problem right there, man. They don't know how to regulate that. How can they tax people if you're fucking up? I get it. I get it.
That's it. And of course, they want their cut.
Yeah, exactly. They want to make that's what I'm saying. How they're trying to figure out, okay, how can we tax this if people are, DUIing it like that? How can we get it into a DUI? Because there's really no accurate test that can say you were high at this moment or it's like there's really nothing accurate, that because we all know that shit can stay in your system you can smoke right now, not smoke for the rest of the month, and it'll still pop up.
Right. Exactly.
So they could say, you could say, well, fuck, I smoked last month, but it's still in my system.
I'm not high. It's been a month.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they're trying to perfect a test for that. And that's really where it's at. I think once they figure that out, it's going to go federal, and then it's going to, it's going to get regulated just like alcohol.
Right on. Right on. So then, were there a lot of projects between, and that really is one of my favorite movies, Idiocracy, because it's so well written. Thank you, Mike Judge, and so comedic. And I feel like maybe it was underrated when it came out, but if it's not already a cult classic, I think it will be, because just the talent in there and the commentary, the social commentary on what. How our society is devolving. I mean, it was brilliant, and everyone that was in it was amazing, including yourself, CiTRic. So congratulations for being. I'm glad you got in that limo. I'm glad your neighbors didn't fucking steal the tires on that limo.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no, thank you, bro. I mean, it's one of those movies that. It's I guess it's considered a sci-fi comedy, but it's like, man, if you look at what's going on in the world these days, man, it's kind of like almost like we're almost there, and it has, and it has become a cult classic. I get it's already it's being called what was it? What's some of the quotes I've been seeing? The first comedy movie to turn into a documentary. That's what I see that pop up all the time.
Yeah.
The first comedy movie that turned into a documentary. When I saw that, I was like, damn, and then I started seeing that everywhere. And every time when people figure out, or when they put two and two together, they're like, wait a minute, you're the guy from Idiocracy, I'm the Secretary of Defense. And then I do the, and then people start laughing. They're like, man, that movie was so ahead of its time. And a lot of people that saw it when it first came out, they were like, when I first saw it, I was like, man, I just lost brain cells right now. And the same people 10, 20 years later are like, dude, that fucking movie is so on point, man. He goes, I didn't realize it at the time, but now I look at it and it's like, man, Mike Judge was ahead of his time on this one. Like, he knew what was up, you know?
From the merging of all these, global corporate entities, to the devolving of Fuddruckers, and you see it evolving from Fuddruckers, and it ends up being called Buttfuckers. Yeah. Because that's what we always think, anyways. But it shows the evolution, and you get hand jobs at Starbucks, and and it's just the dumbing down of America, the dumbing down of society, and all the characters are just brilliantly played, and including like that general. That was also a pimp, because Upgrade got him in trouble. Whatever. Yeah, I said, I just saw it. I started thinking of you again. I was like, I wonder what CiTRic's up to. And when I first saw it, when it first came, or maybe soon after it came out, I remember I was like, who the hell is that? Because every time I see a Latino actor, I'm like, I got to find out who that is.
Yeah.
And at first I thought it was my friend Horatio Sanz from Saturday Night Live. But I was like, that can't be him. I'm like, that's not him. I'm like, no, I go, that's somebody else. But I go, but who is it? Why have I never seen him before? You know, because I try to follow Latino actors. And then I think that's when you first got on my radar was because you were in this cult classic of a movie. But I saw when it first came out, and even then I thought it was brilliant. I was like, of course, Mike Judge. It's brilliant commentary.
Yeah, no, this shit is wild, man. Yeah, and I go places, and like I said, when people figure it out, you know what I'm saying, they put two and two together. A lot of people have recognized me because of the voice. When I started talking, and I remember I was at 7-Eleven, some fool was looking at me, and I was just like, oh shit. And I was out there with my son, and we're talking, and then that fool just kept coming up to me closer and coming in. And I was getting ready to sock this fool because I don't know what he was up to, And he comes up to me and goes, hey, bro, by any chance, were you in a movie called Idiocracy? And I started laughing, and like, well, yeah, Secretary of Defense, right? And like, well, yeah. He goes, oh, man, yeah, I love that movie, man. I recognize your voice right away, man. He was like 2 hours over, man. We're in the 7-Eleven. And he came around, and so, yeah. So I thought he was, like, coming, like, trying to, I didn't know what to expect, to be honest. I was already, like, ready, man. I was like, man, this fool, he looks like he's up to something, man. But nah, it was cool, man.
He's just a fan. Hey, yeah, I got recognized taking a dump in a bowling alley. So I've told that story before. It's out there, so I'll have to tell you one of these days.
Yeah.
But, what's that?
Yeah, no. Let me know.
Yeah. It's pretty funny. It was because I did commercials for Del Taco, and I was Luisito, and I'll tell you real quick. And this guy. I was at a bowling alley in the Valley, and it was I was like, oh, I got to use the bathroom, and it had stall doors, but they only went up to here. I think so people wouldn't go in there and do drugs or whatever, or I don't know, have sex. So I'm like, and people aren't taking dumps, I guess, outside of their home. I'm like, I can't wait. So I'm sitting there, and I'm kind of trying to crunch down, and the door's like this, and this Latino guy walks by, and then he comes walking by, and then he stops. And he backs up and he looks in, and I'm thinking kind of probably like what you're thinking, like, wow, this fool want, man, like what the fuck? And then he just continues, and right next door, there's a wall, but then right past the stall wall, there's a urinal. So he starts going, and all of a sudden he starts going, Luisito making a burrito. Oh, Luisito. My name was Luisito in these commercials for Del Taco. Luisito making a burrito. And I'm like, what a time to get recognized is when I'm taking a drop
out of all places.
Dropping a dude. So at least your guy recognized you of your voice, not because you were sitting there taking a dump, and then made a song about it.
I would have been like, hey, bro, are you dropping off that Del Taco?
That would have also worked. That would have been funny as well. I would have been like, oh, what do these guys want? Oh no, I don't got anything, guys. I don't got nothing.
You're making a drop off.
I call it the Del Taco drop off. That's right. They haven't hired me since then, so I don't care. They're going to be a sponsor. That is amazing. So, any other? But you worked out a little bit on King of the Hill and Squidbillies. So you've done voiceover. And are you still okay on time? I don't want to monopolize your whole day, but
I'm cool. I got a little bit of time still, man. Yeah.
Cool. Good. Well, thank you, and I want to thank you again for those of you that just joined us. My guest today on Paul Vato Presents is Anthony Campos, aka Big CiTRic or CiTRic or Citro, as don't call him. Only George calls him that. That's George Lopez. That's low. Thank you so much for taking time and being here. So you did voiceover, and I'm sure because you knew Mike Judge that got you on King of the Hill, which is, you've made your own connections. You did great work for him. And then, were there any other big projects? Was it Harsh Times?
Yes, with Christian Bale. Did Harsh Times with Christian Bale and Freddie Rodriguez and Eva Longoria. She was in there for a couple scenes. And I didn't get to meet her, but she was in that movie. But my scene was with Noel G. It's me, Noel G, a couple other homies that were in there. And
wait. You're not Noel G? The only Chicano that works in film. No, I'm kidding.
And then, it's crazy that in that movie he had his hair grown out. So some people,
right.
You'll recognize him if you know him, but some people won't recognize him because he doesn't have the bald head. But he had his hair grown out because in the movie, in the storyline, he's supposed to be more like a reformed cholo, like he's trying to do better now. He's trying to do good. So he's trying to change his ways. So he's growing out his hair, but we're still caught up in the same shit.
Amazing.
But it's a
great
real
team. It's a great team. Back then, I probably wouldn't have put it all together. And I'm also friends with Noel G, and I saw that you were actually doing some comedy stuff together.
Real great guy, man. He's comedy, man. He's funny, man. Like he does. At that time I didn't know he was doing stand up too, but he does stand up here and there, man. Whenever whenever he gets a call for it, but acting is his main bread and butter, man. And he gets a lot of roles, and he flies all over the world, man, to do movies and stuff like that, man. So he stays working, man, and that's a good thing, man, because you already know it's hard, man. It's hard to stay working as an actor in this business, especially being Latino. And then if you got like a certain look, like you get like stereotyped or typecast, what they call typecast, or you just have a certain look sometimes that they feel they can't put you in something else, and but I'm like a witness that shit could change if you put on a wig or you cut off your mustache, you grow a mustache, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Shit can change. You don't have to always be that same character, but a lot of times because they look at me in the wild from the streets, we're cholos. Now, a lot of times they want the cholo role, but nah, we could play more than just the cholo role, just because I'm bald, but I'll throw on the wig. Idiocracy is a perfect example,
Yeah. Perfect. You guys, you have range.
Change it up.
But I know I think I heard George Lopez call him Noe. So you're right. George changes everybody's name. He goes,
he changes everybody's name. He'll use your same name, but he'll twist it a little bit,
That's
now you're this. Now this is what I'm gonna call you. All right, it's George Lopez. You're not gonna argue with him.
You're on his show. Call me whatever you want, man. It's funny because, and for those that just joined us, we're bringing up a mutual friend, Noel G or Noel G, who is Hector from the Fast and the Furious. Yeah. But right, if there's a Chicano role, a Latino film or something. And they need a role. He also had monkeys flying out of his ass.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, that was maybe his first kind of one of the big roles.
Yeah, one of it was with Jim Carrey, man.
Jim Carrey.
Emilio Rivera's in that scene too.
Who is?
Emilio Rivera.
That's right. Of course.
He's in that. If you remember, he's wearing the cutoff like a Levi's or a jeans vest.
Yep.
Yeah, Emilio Rivera's in there too.
Monkeys come flying out of my ass. Well, monkeys come flying out of his ass.
Yeah, Noel, I was going to say Hector Noel, he's always getting clowned for that, man. He's like, forever, people are like, hey, remember when that monkey came out of your ass?
Yeah.
Everybody always hits him up on that shit.
That's funny. So are you friends also with Toy Shack, Johnny, with Johnny from the Toy Shack here in Vegas?
I've never met him, but I know he's real tight with Noel.
Yeah.
But I never met Johnny.
Well, next time you come out, maybe we'll hang out because Johnny's a good friend of mine as well.
Right. Yeah, I'm down, man. Yeah, I would love to go see his shop, man.
Yeah, it's a great shop, especially for people like us that if your mom threw away all your old toys, they're all there, but now they're going to cost you a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and
I would love to go out there, hang out, and just go check out a shop. We'll chill out. Me and Phil, we're talking about going out to Vegas soon, so he has to go handle some business over there, and with the DMV and. So we're talking about just making a weekend out of it, just go out for the weekend. Maybe we could just hang out and, go do some lunch and go check out the shop and mastermind some shit.
You guys should take the bus out here.
With me and Phil, we won't fit. We have to take 2 seats each.
Amazing. I love it.
And we have to buy 4 tickets for 2 guys.
Hey, we're traveling in style. We each get our own row. You've lost weight though, have you not? I mean, you look.
Yeah, I lost a little bit of weight, man. It's just especially recently, I put myself on a diet, man. Once I get over 300 pounds, I start feeling it. It's like, so I gotta I gotta check myself, man, from time to time, man, because I love to eat, man. You know, there's so much good food out there, man. And, you know, one of the places my son and me have been talking about is when we go to next time we go to Vegas, man, we're trying to hit that heart attack grill.
I was my joke was I was 2 pounds away from eating for free.
Yeah.
For those that
you gotta
don't
be 350, you know, or something like that.
If you weigh over 350, you eat for free, and you can do it once a day. But if I would have done that right now, I'd be 500 or 600 pounds.
At least,
free, yeah.
Dude, I was telling my son today too. I go, man, I gotta work out, man. And he goes, what do you mean? He goes, yeah, I gotta work out, start eating more so we could eat for free.
I was actually probably already, truth be told, I was up to like 365 pounds, and then I started doing yoga, Anthony, believe it or not. And so I kind of started even a little yoga company called Bad Hombre Yoga. But it really ended up helping me just because I would eat better. I wouldn't go out drinking at night because and I never said, oh, I have to do yoga tomorrow. I would say I get to do yoga tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it would eliminate I'd be like, you know what, I'm not going to go out tonight and drink because then I don't get to do yoga in the morning, or in the afternoon. You could do it anytime. But if I go out drinking with you tonight, I'm not going to do anything tomorrow. And I already know my body. So it eliminated, and I think that's part of the reason I lost. Because I'm right at like around 300, or I'm always right around there. So I lost about 65 pounds, but I've got another 100 to go, man. So maybe we can do this journey together.
Yeah, man. You know, it's just disciplining yourself. That's it. Like you said, you know what I'm saying? And don't look at it like, oh, I have to do it. You know, you gotta look like, oh man, you gotta look forward to it. You know what, I'm gonna do this. Because at the end of the day, I want to get results, and then same thing when I get on the indoor, I try to do as much walking as possible. We go out to the market, we go to the store, to Target, Walmart, whatever. We'll go around the store a couple of times to get that walk in. But at home, I have a cycle, indoor cycling. So sure. I do at least 30 minutes every day on that thing, man. And yeah, there's days when I'm just like beat, man. I'm just not feeling it. But I'll get it in no matter what, man. I'll just be like, nah, man, it's gonna, it'll be all good. 30 minutes will go by quick. Throw on the headphones, play some music or throw on the TV or whatever, watch something. Before you know the 30 minutes or sometimes I go over, I'll end up doing like an hour, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, before you know it, because I get so into the programming, what I'm watching or I'm listening to music and I'm just vibing, and the time goes by quick. So I don't look at it like, oh, I have to, I just look at it like, oh, no, I'm looking forward to do it, like I want to get results, so I'm gonna do it,
It's the getting started that's always
that's the hard part, getting started.
Hang on, you know what? I forgot. I got to fill out this thing. I got to send out this quick message, and then the day's over. You're like, oh my god, where did the day go? But that's what I love about yoga, and I'm gonna see if I can get more Latinos into it, especially men. Because I'm sure there's this stigma about yoga that it's either for ladies or you have to be flexible or you have to be fit. None of that is true. Yoga doesn't get easier. You just get better.
You just get better. That's what I heard.
Yeah. So I'm going to try and get, more men into it by I'm starting a company that will make bigger mats, bigger blocks, because, it's all about making the floor come up to you. You don't have to go down to the floor. You can just get bigger blocks. You just modify, and it'll make it easier for people.
That's it.
For POSs, people of size. I like to say that we're
it's like big and tall.
Big and tall. Bad hombre yoga. So let me ask you, and then I think if you're ready, you tell me. But so how did you end up on Lopez? Did you know George already, or was it same audition process and then you guys connected, or how did you end up on Lopez?
The way I got the Lopez gig was through John Alschuler and Dave Krinsky were the writers and executive producers of the show, but they've I met them through Mike Judge, because they've done some executive producing with Mike Judge, like Silicon Valley on HBO. I don't know if you ever seen that show. Really good show. I don't think it's aired. I think it's already done, but they got a lot of seasons out of there. I was on one of the episodes on season 1, episode 5.
You were a tagger, or an artist?
Yeah, the Tiger. Yeah, the artist that Chewy. Yeah,
Yes, I remember.
So those guys, you know, they're writers and executive producers for that show as well, you know. So they're all from that same circle. So that's where that came out. Or for a couple of years, they were just telling me, you know, like, hey, we got something big we're working on for you. We wanna bring you aboard on doing some, you know, something big, but we'll keep you in the loop. You know, but I was just like, yeah, cool. You know, whatever you guys want to do, man, just let me know, man. You know, I'm here. You know, you already know. And a couple of years went by, man. You know, and they, you know, once in a while when I would work with them on other stuff, they would tell me that. But I never really tripped on it. I was just like, I never hit them up. Hey, what's going on with that, or what's up?
Yeah,
You know, like I was just like, cool. If it happens, it happens. And then yeah, like 2 years later, I get a call from my agent, and she says, there's this pilot that's being filmed, and they want to know if you're interested. It's working with for a new show they're trying to do for George Lopez. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I go, yeah, man. You know, so she signed me up. And what happened is I never had to do an audition for it because they just called me in for the reading. They go, we're gonna have a table reading. You're gonna read with George and the other people. They already have like my boy Moranzio Vance, and then who else was there? There was a couple other cats that were on the show. They didn't really make it to the show. The only one that made it was Moranza, but they had like two other characters. I can't remember their names, but anyways, I went over there and I was the first one there at the reading, and I'm sitting there on the secretary, you know, walked me into the conference room where they're having them, you know, the big old table, you know, where we're having the reading. I have my laptop there. I'm on my laptop just going through the script, just checking shit, you know. And then in walks in John Osler, and he has all the script for that pilot episode. He has a whole bunch of them in his hand. He's putting them on the table. And then he sees me and goes, hey, CiTRic, what's up, man? And I looked at him, hey, what's up? And then it dawned on me, and I'm like, oh, shit, wait a minute. And I was tripping on, and I go, hey, so you're behind this? He goes, yeah, me and Dave are executive producers on this. I'm like, oh, shit. So, you know, we wrote you in for this, man. So, you know, and I'm like, damn, but I go, so what's the situation? Is this the audition or what?
They're like, you got it. If you want it,
no, you already got it. This is the table read. I'm like, well, how do you know I'm gonna nail it? He goes, oh, we know, man. We already know, man. We know what what you're capable of doing. I'm like, all right. So in walks in George right after, you know, like maybe like 5-10 minutes later, walks in George, and this is like on a Monday morning, early in the morning. It's like 8:00 in the morning, you know, and he walks in there with all, you know, in his suit. He's got dark glasses on, and you can tell he was partying the night before or something, man. And he was just like, and he looks at me and he was just went like that, like, what's up? And then John goes, hey, George, I want you to meet Anthony, a.k.a. CiTRic. He's going to play Manolo, your driver. And that's it, you know, and, you know, we shook hands. And then after he just said, all right, let's get to work. And then he kind of sized me up. He looks at me up and down, and, you know, like that. And then he just sized me up. And then he just, all right, shook my hand, let's get to work. And we sat down and we did the reading. And when we were done with the reading, he turns around because he was sitting right next to me. He turns around, he looks at me, and he goes, that was great. That was great. I like that. And he goes, hey, right, check it out, man. Right now, in about 10 minutes, we're going to go into that next room. The way you read right here, you better read like that over there in the room. And I'm like, okay, we have no problem. I'm like, well, what's up? He goes, oh, because over there we're reading for the executives of TV Land. And I'm like, oh, great. So I'm like, fuck. So we go, they take us next door, and we go in there. There's a bunch of executives, like maybe like 15, 20 people. There's like chairs. There's a long table. We're all sitting on the table. George is in the middle. I'm right next to him. Other people, cast members on this side, cast members on that side reading. And there was like 15, 20 chairs in front of us. So it's like an audience. And they're all getting like their coffees and drinks or whatever. And then all of a sudden we sit down, and then they come and they sit down. And we start the reading. It's like almost like a play in a way. You know, that's how it felt. Like you're reading out a play. And I remember when it got to my first line, I kind of stumbled, and then I was like, "Oh, great!" And I was like, "Fuck!" But then I caught it, and then because I was really nervous, you know. And then I caught it, and I was like, "Oh, fuck, man!" But I was thinking, I'm going to get fired before I even get hired. Right here. I'm thinking to myself, so I kept going. I caught it, and we did the whole thing. And TV Land loved it, man. And they were clapping, and they were laughing. You know, once we heard them laughing. It was like I knew, okay, we got something here, because it was weird, man. It was like a play, but it was almost like you're improvising and you're doing stand up at the same time. It was, I don't know, it was weird, man. It was like three elements going on at once, and we have a live audience right there, just sitting there, so that was a crazy experience. But yeah, they loved it, but then even after that, they still they were kind of iffy. They still wanted to audition a couple more heads, but the writers kept fighting for me. No, man, that's your guy, CiTRic, that's your guy. And then when we finally taped the pilot, and they pieced it up and they saw it all, and then they did like one of those focus testing.
A focus group, focus
group testing. So they did like 2 of those. The first one I tested good, and the second one I tested really well. It was like really up there. The numbers were good, so they were just like they couldn't deny it. They couldn't deny the chemistry between George and I. And so they were just like, that's our guy right there, Manolo. And then after the first season, I became the fan favorite. So we did season 2, but then we didn't get a season 3. We almost did, but just a bunch of shit happened. George got into it with the executives, not the executives, the network people. Just over shit. They weren't promoting it the way they promised they were, and a bunch of other stuff. Because a lot of people knew that George had a new show out, but they were kind of like expecting George and the whole crew, the cast, to promote it more, and than them putting in promo. But all the other shows that were airing after us or before us, they were putting mad promo into that. So George was mad, and
sure,
and got into it with them, and George, he got no filters, he speaks his mind, and he gave them a piece of his mind, and then they got into it. Yeah, next thing we just got the notice that they said there's not going to be a season 3, but they go, we still want to do something with it, like put it out, or continue the show, but it's going to take some time. That's what the executive producers, John and Dave, were saying. But nothing has happened since, so I really don't know what's going on. And I know TV Land still owns or rights to season 1 and 2, so I think there's some kind of conflict going on right there too,
Well, did you guys actually come out? Because I know season 2 was supposed to take place in Vegas. I mean, it took place in Vegas, but did you guys actually come out to film in Vegas, or was it just more like outside shots of Vegas?
No, we did. We did 1 episode in Vegas. That was the last episode on season 1.
That's it.
That whole episode.
You know what? I was so excited because I was like, when this comes back for season 3, I'm going to try to get on the show. I'm going to talk to my agent in here in Vegas and go, because I really thought the show was going to move to Vegas to do the show.
We were going to. Well, what was going to happen with season 2? We shot everything back in LA. So we only shot episode 1 in Vegas, and I think part of the last episode of season 1, and because I think it was like 12 episodes. So season 11 and 12 were shot in Vegas, like half of 11, and all of 12 was shot in Vegas. That was all. We were shooting inside the casino at I think it was Bally's.
Sure. Yeah.
No, at the Flamingo. I think I don't know. Is the Flamingo and Bally's next door to each other?
I believe so, but it probably Flamingo, because that's where Andrew Dice Clay was doing his show. So I think Flamingo's pretty friendly for film
shoots. I think we were filming inside of Flamingo, but we were staying at Bally's, which was across the street, because we were using our own hotel rooms as our dressing room. So when they would need us, they would send somebody to go get us, and then they would bring us down to the floor. But there was like like we would have to cross to the casino across the street, but it was just like a little street. So I think I remember there were neighbors, But I remember we were staying at Bally's, and then we were filming on the floor of the casino next door, and I think it was a Flamingo. And they would close out areas, and then they had security, a couple of cops, because everybody, is George Lopez, so people were trying to take pictures, and but for the most part, everybody was being respectful while we were filming. Everybody kept their distance, and we were doing our thing, and we had a bunch of background people that were from Vegas, that got into, to be on that episode, and they made it look nice, man. Like, we were really, like, you couldn't even tell that we shut it down. That area, we were filming, it just looked like a normal casino day, man.
Yeah.
So it was dope. And what happened, it was on season 2. George comes back to LA because he didn't want to, because eventually the whole season 1 is he's trying to get a residency show, right, in Vegas. So he ends up getting the residency show, but then season 2, it became too repetitive for him. So he was tired of it. So he comes back to LA and he doesn't want to go back to Vegas. So the season 2, they filmed it in LA. But they were talking like season 3, we were going to do back and forth, Vegas and LA, Vegas and LA and shit.
Sure.
And
Amazing. My friend, and I don't know if you know Del Zamora, but he was on
the fucking George Lopez guy.
Yeah, that's it.
He was also in Born in East LA.
Yeah. Del was Born in East LA. He was in RoboCop.
Yeah.
He was in Repo Man. That was his first big movie. So he and I are pretty close. And I lived with him when I first moved to LA, which is I happened to meet him, and he kind of took me in. And he's always been kind of a mentor. I know some people have issues with him, but he was great. I thought he was great on Lopez. And
he's hella cool people and really good actor, man, and funny, man. He's hilarious.
Yeah, he is. He really is. And I think he's going to come out because we're going to play in the World Series of Poker together.
Nice.
Do you play poker?
Nah, I don't, man.
Oh, good. We should play for money then.
That's why I don't play, man, because I'll lose. I'll lose everything.
I know Noel G's a good player. So.
He loves to play. He's always over here at the casinos, and he just that's his thing, man. He goes, man, that's my only downfall, man. Gambling, man.
Oh, I know. I've spent some time with him and Johnny from the Toy Shack and Johnny the guy that owns Nerd Bar. We've had some good times. But man, is there anything that you'd like to promote? Is there anything I know that people can find you? I believe it's at bigcitric.com.
Yeah, bigcitric.com. All my social media is Big CiTRic. And we had just shot some stuff called Ghetto Busters recently too, and it was on Tubi and on Amazon, but they took it down because apparently it just made it it got accepted to this film festival in France, the Cannes. I think it's called the Cannes Film Festival or
Cannes.
Yeah, so they made us take it down from the platforms while it's at the festival. So we're gonna see what happens from there, But yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's like the latest shit that we had dropped. But other than that, man, just people can look me up, Big CiTRic, on all my social media and bigcitric.com. They want to listen to the podcast too that I'm doing, the Big CiTRic Show with my co-host Phil Medina. And maybe we'll bring it over to the Fireside, man.
We will. I think they would love to have you here. I think there you go. Yeah, please. You want anyone that's here, please, a round of applause for Anthony Big CiTRic Campos. He's been so generous with his time. Thank you. Thank you. And please share the room and share the recording. I forgot to I think I sent it out, but then I forgot to ask you guys to share it. So after it's shareable, please share it with the world. And then tomorrow morning, 5 a.m., my series, Paul Vato Presents, is debuting. So I'm releasing my first 3 episodes, which is Kay Parker from Canada, Bill Cott, Mr. Lariat on Wizards of Waverly plays, and then Naomi Gross with Pepper on American Horror Story. And then, so I'm going to save yours for either a few days later or maybe even next week, where it'll be available on all streaming platforms.
Okay.
So CiTRic, man, and I hope that you'll come back and maybe work with me and Butch Bradley, the stand-up comedian, so we can, because I would work on my stand-up as well, buddy. You've inspired me.
Yeah, no, let's do it, man. You already know, man. Anytime you want me to come on the show, or we go out there, let's hang out, let's work on some shit, man. Let's produce some comedy shows out there in Vegas, man.
Yes, and Noel has been wanting to do that. So let me get motivated and talk to my buddy that owns the LA Comedy Club and have you guys come out and do a Fast and Furious. You and is it Phil? You said Phil?
Yeah, with Phil Medina. Yeah, he was the one producing Fast and Furious tour.
Wonderful. If you could connect me with those
I think what do you call it? The Fast and Funny. You sound like the Fast and Funny.
Fast and Funny. I think it was the Fast and the Funny, or the Funny and the Furious.
Something like that. Yeah, it's a good play off the whole Fast and Furious. I remember when Phil came to us with that idea, and I was like, oh, this is dope, man. This is tight.
Sure. And it's not easy, man, because I think the audience will catch you give you a little bit of a break if you're famous, if you're a celebrity. But if you can't can't maintain for more than a few minutes, they're going to eat you up alive. So I'm very proud of you, and I love that you've been working on your craft, and that and I've watched it and it's good. So you're an inspiration, and I want to do the same thing. So CiTRic, thank you.
Oh no, thank you, bro. Appreciate it, man. Like I said, yeah, let's get together and do something, man.
You got it, my friend. We've got people here that want to join us there. So I want to thank a few of the people that are here: Bad Bunny, Dave, Victoria, David, Ray, and especially you, Mr. Campos. Gracias por estar aquí. Sí, hablo español.
Yeah. Eso es bueno, eso es bueno.
Muy bueno.
Muy bueno.
Muy bueno. All right, folks. Well, thank you for joining us. You can find me at paulvato.com or at vato.tv. And please also give Big CiTRic a follow at bigcitric.com. But you can also find him across all social media at Big CiTRic and listen to his music, support his projects. And he's definitely going to come back. I mean, because I think we've covered about half the things, and we've already gone 2 hours and 15 minutes, I think. So thank you for being so gracious with your time, my friend.
No worries, bro. No worries, man.
Ese hombre holding up the bottle. Look a little closer, cigar and Moscato. An actor in improv coming from Chicago. Outdoor, make way for Paul Vato.